Hi everybody, welcome back to You Seem Normal. Today I have, I think like a new concept in life to share with you all. And that is the concept of emotional crumble. So I don't think that's actually a word that's been coined yet. I could be wrong, but when I look up emotional crumble or like crumbling emotionally, nothing comes up as that term being coined or existing. So I'm going to walk you through what that could mean today and what that can mean for you, and the backstory of how it came up for me, because just something that happened this week and I would like to talk about it. Yes, I did also see this sort of concept in a poem by Rupi Kaur. So I'm also going to talk about that at the end. So basically at work this week, one day I was sent away to deal with something in the middle of something else that I was already dealing with. And I was working on this with someone else, and so I was waiting for her, my thought partner, to arrive. And as I began to work through this thing that we were working on through writing, which is a big part of my job, and also how I make sense of things. And so as I was writing, I began to feel really uneasy. I couldn't back up what we were saying, and yada yada. Eventually, my thought partner arrived, and she sat down, and we just kind of looked at each other. And I said, "This doesn't feel right. This is not right. I don't think we should be doing this." And she said, she agreed, and we had to work through the thing. We confirmed that that was what we were tasked to do, and so I guess we did that thing. But later in the night, she said to me that she was so glad that I said that I didn't feel that this was right as soon as she got there, because she had just got done with a crumble in her car. And so I'd never heard that. I never really heard the term like, I just got done crumbling, or like, I had a crumble. Had a bit of a crumble there. So it kind of like, it stopped me for a second, and I paused and I was like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And what was so interesting was I clearly had also had that happen as I was sitting there writing, that like crumble. And I really do think that we might have had that at the exact same time, because I think that's just something that would happen in the universe. I do think we might have felt that at the exact same time. So it's, I guess, just talking about the term more. You know that term like emotional turmoil? Like, you're not quite there, you know? It's more just a part of you has fallen off the track. And when I think of a crumble, I think of a cookie, but not necessarily like a cookie shattering when you drop it, but like just part of it crumbling off the edges, like you're carrying it or holding it, and those just sort of little rocks tumbling. And you have a choice, I guess, to continue crumbling, or just to continue, period. And I also like to think of it as it's less severe than and less sharp than a shatter, than something shattering, like glass shattering has super sharp shards. And that's not what's happened for you. It's just that you're beginning to feel a little something that you'd rather not be feeling, and it doesn't feel right to you necessarily, and you feel like, yeah, maybe you're about to cry, but you're at that point where you can think about if you can be crying or not. If the glass were to shatter, you'd probably already have been crying and feeling intensely emotional in that way. So like, I kind of think of it also, a crumble, as like an emotional stumbling, like a stumbling block, like you were walking and you like tripped a little and you stumbled. Again, you could stop walking and no longer continue, or you could continue. It just makes you like falter a little bit. And so a couple different things. One, we definitely crumbled individually, but in community somehow. Like, there was definitely a community tie between us and what was happening. Multiple people felt it. But then we also like overcame the crumble in community because we confirmed things and we just had to work through the things together. And it was really nice because like we also talked about like crumbling and how it didn't feel necessarily right to us. And then I was also going to say that like if this had happened to me a couple years ago, and I started that crumble process, there's no way I could have been able to stay in the situation that I was in, which was waiting for her to arrive. As I was sitting there writing, I was like, should I actually leave right now? Should I go somewhere else? Should I go home? I don't know that I can handle this and I'd rather not. A couple years ago, I would have been out so fast. Just that fight or flight response is so real, and I'm known to do both of them. So fight and then flight. Or either or. But yeah, a past version of myself would have been out. That's a way to protect yourself. But I felt that I could protect myself, I guess, in other ways throughout this, and part of that was, I guess, being in community with these people, and particularly my thought partner. Yeah, so I guess we'll go. This is a Ruby Core quote that I found reading. It's from The Sun and Her Flowers. And I like this YouTuber Jack Edwards because he talks about how just because something is popular doesn't mean that it's trash. So he specifically refers to Ruby Core's poetry, that it is very popular, and so some people write it off. Actually, it's pretty good. It's good. And I'm enjoying reading her like second poetry book. So she said, "I used to be so deeply emotional I'd crumble on demand. I used to be so deeply emotional I'd crumble on demand." That got me thinking about the emotional crumble as well. Although I don't know that I love where it says, "I used to be so deeply emotional." Because you're all feeling emotions all the time, and yet the word emotional means something different than just having emotions at all times, you know? Same with like, I used to be so deeply sensitive I'd crumble on demand. Well, we're all sensitive to different things. And yet sensitive in this case, dealing with emotions, means something very specific. Yeah. And then my final question to you is, so for me, you know, that crumbling looked like the fight or flight response of leaving and just like getting the heck out of there. What does a crumble look like for you? Because you could probably pretty easily picture a time, or picture what a shatter looks like a glass shatter. For you, it's like the worst. It's like from okay to just never mind, forget about it. But a crumble might look a little bit different. So see what you think about emotional crumble for yourself. And let me know what else this reminds you of, because like I said, I think this is like a new thing. So we're just, you know, out here paving the way for new emotional terms such as crumble. Anything that can relate to cookies is a win in my book. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.